Alright, checking to see if the mic works. Hopefully it's not too loud. Alright, seems to sound alright to me. A little bassy for some reason. Maybe I'll turn it down a little bit. Hey, thanks, Chris. I'm just fooling with the mic. I swapped the computers around. So I moved Tiamat, the i9, over to the streaming station. I moved the 8700K, the gaming rig, over to the gaming station. So you think I need to raise my voice, or can you hear me just fine? Or are you saying it's like bassy? Sounds bassy. I don't know if it sounds weird or whatever. I'm listening to it myself right now, but it takes me about 15 to 20 seconds to hear what I'm just saying now. Yeah, I'm gonna try a different codec. I'll be right back. Give me 1 second. Well, I don't know if it's gonna make me restart the stream or not for this to take effect, but I gotta wait 20 seconds to find out. That sound better? I think it sounds a little bit better. Not 100% sure, Chris. What do you think? Think we're good enough? Alright. Okay, we got audio. Good. Now the quality of the stream should be much better now on the i9 with a bunch of juiced up encoding. So we're actually using that big CPU. Can't talk when I'm hearing myself. Fine. Okay, give me a minute and I'll be ready to start the show. Gotta find my glasses. So you guys want to watch videos tonight like this? The chat? Like that? Or no chat? No, I'm not playing the game right now. That's some footage that I captured. Played for my warm-up. I'm lucky I made it to the stream tonight. I'll tell you. I mean, I've been working really hard the last 3 days just trying to get the streaming stations up and running. Had to swap computers because I got the 2080 Ti coming. I didn't think that was going to come out for about 6 months. So I thought I had time because I built the gaming rig pretty much minus a video card. And I had a 1080 in there that was like on loan. And I pulled that out. And I had to put a 1060 in it because the 1080 is gone. So I got the gaming rig right now with the 1060 in it, waiting for the 2080 Ti to be delivered in a couple weeks. And that's going to be our gaming setup with the 8700K. And then I got the i9, which I was using for a gaming rig with the two 1080s and SLI in it. That was built to be the actual streaming rig because the CPU does some crazy encoding when you stream with the X264 encoding. The more cores that you have on the CPU, the better the stream. So yeah, so now that computer is doing what it's supposed to do, and now we got pretty much a half-ass gaming rig, the 1060, waiting on the 2080. But I had to reinstall Windows on the i9 and set it up for streaming, and well, yeah, and I built a NAS drive this weekend too. So I set up a NAS drive, which is network access storage. So it's kind of like a mini computer that stays on 24 hours with all my files on it. So I'll be able to like record my streams to it, and it's going to enable me to do a lot more stuff. So now that nightmare is over with, and I guess I did okay, and you guys can hear me when we have a live feed. I am missing a lot of buttons because I don't have all my buttons set up yet, but I'm going to try to change my voice, and you tell me if it works, okay? I'm going to try to turn into the Dark Lord. But right now I should be talking as the Dark Lord. I don't know if it's working or not. I really hope it is. Then I'm going to go back to normal. Now my voice should be back to normal. So did that work? And then let me see. I'll try some of my video effects. We'll see if this works. Oh yeah, it looks like we got something going on here. Alright, I do got a couple buttons. Let's see if I can end the music and roll the intro, and then we'll get on with the news. Let's see if I got the power to do that. Let's see, stop the music. Got that. I'm afraid to hit these buttons because they might crash the stream because I haven't tested. Looks like we got an intro with no volume. Or maybe I don't get the volume, but you guys get volume on this intro? Oh, my voice sound normal? I didn't change my... Let me see if I can fix that. All right. You should hear me, right? I shut that stuff off just in case it interfered with our stream. I didn't want a program that wasn't working to crash my stream. Okay, let's get on with the news. Sorry for all the extra noise. So, I don't have my normal list, you know, I'm not all organized like usual. We can fake it. Do a lot of things. A lot of things when you're we have a boss. I want to check out Ethical. A month ago. Super Mac Brothers. I know we came in before we got the alert. See what Ryan's got going. Chat. I saw this topic and I was interested in it. This was on my lunch break. I really couldn't wait to get home to brother gonna say about the housing. Here we go.
Hello, Ryan here, aka Mac, and welcome. So this week there was a couple of things that really excited me, both of which I would like to share with you guys. Firstly, we got to see some updates on how water is coming along and getting worked on. This is looking excellent. The first bodies of water we will see will be on the Hurston planet, which is coming in the next patch 3.3. Now, although they did say that we won't be able to interact with the water as such, it will still look incredible. We have heard that they have the ability to quickly adjust the wave strength, the ocean colour, the opacity, plus how the water interacts with the beachline and terrain. Also looking into a future component to allow the global weather system to influence the way that the water behaves. Now, all the above is sounding very impressive. I cannot wait until we can obviously swim and explore the underwater scenes. And when weather comes in, it is going to be amazing seeing tide surges and maybe large waves. For 3.3, being able to appreciate them and fly over them and walk around them will still be great, and as time goes on, we'll get more interaction. Now, the second thing that excited me is on the most recent RTV. We got an update regarding player hangars, which also applies to player habitation pods. Todd Pappy, the director of Star Citizen Live, went on to explain that they hope to make player hangars and habitation homes physical rather than instanced. Now, what this means is that at a lot of the landing locations like Lorville and Hurston, they could create, say, 5,000 apartments that players would be able to rent or buy. Each landing location depending on the player demand to live there, and it'll create economy, with some apartments being worth more than others and particular landing locations becoming more wealthy and desirable than others, just like in real life. Now, for player hangars, these could be specific locations as well. They could create, say, 500 hangars at Lorville, 500 at Arisen, maybe 500 at New Babbage, allowing players again the opportunity to buy and rent these.
You guys do hear me, right, Chris? My meter says you hear me.
One of the best things about how Star Citizen is being built is the sheer scale of the planets and the amount of land mass that they have to allow this kind of thing. If this is how they are going to do it, then we could see large areas of landing locations taken up by hangars, cities with a residential area with homes for players to acquire. They really want players to be able to personalise their hangars, their habitation pods, and invite friends round. And how cool would it be setting up a ship for a mission?
You guys want the chat up there, or you don't want it up there? Because I can take it down
all working to get the ship ready. Todd did say that this is their intention, and that they are having a meeting sometime this next week to discuss this very thing. It doesn't mean it's confirmed. Like many ambitious things Star Citizen tries to do, if they can find a way to get it done and get it working right, then they will do so. They will discuss what's the best way and best approach to do this, maybe create some mock-ups to see how many hangars look right when set together. And if all goes well, I will look forward to owning apartments all over the verse. Now, personally, I, as you can tell, are very excited for this and just really hope they can make it work. The idea of everyone being able to own their own apartment or hangar in whatever planet or city that they want to is incredible. As time goes on, apartments will get bought and a demand may come in like in the real world. This will allow us to invite friends over to our homes and hangars and hang out and get prepped for missions. Having an org hangar maybe as a place to meet up and group up as an org. Customizing our own homes and so forth. Very, very cool. Also, maybe the idea if you own a place to sell it on to someone like a friend or... I don't know, maybe I'm thinking too far ahead there. Obviously, this is something a little way off, but we have seen habitation pods and work on the new modular hangars quite a bit over the last few months, so alongside land claims, owning property, hangars and apartments is going to be a large part of Star Citizen, and I for one cannot wait to start picking a home. Do let me know where you want to live and whether you're excited to purchase a home somewhere in the Star Citizen verse, or maybe even just owning a hangar so you can invite all your friends round to check out your ships. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any more Star Citizen content. Hit that thumbs up, helps me out a lot. Follow me over on Twitch as we like to stream some Star Citizen. Big thank you to all my patrons who help me make these videos. If you want to become a patron, follow the link below in the description, and I shall see you next time.
Alright. That was Super Mac, brother. I don't know what to think about that. Hope there's a lot to the houses, stuff like that. Like, bring the Pioneer in and build away. Build what you want. Kedron, thanks for the sub. Appreciate it. Thank you very much, sir. Okay. We did Super Mac. Don't have all my buttons to. Third at the bottom of the list. "14 hours ago, Scum." I don't know, I'm kind of tempted to watch the Scum video. 4 days ago. Alright, Kedron, you have a good night. Easy, buddy. We're gonna check out Mid Soldier, see what he had. Hours ago. Let's be positive. Like, two at a time.
So today's episode is going to be a little different. We're going to try to go down the positive route, the imagination route, the speculation route, the fun route. Get away from the and get into some, hopefully, some more interesting and entertaining stuff. So let's talk about pay to win. Just kidding.
Pay to win? There's no such thing. And I can explain this why. Okay. My theory about there's no pay to win in Star Citizen. And feel free to say I'm wrong, because everything I'm about to say is just my opinion and solely my opinion. So, pay to win Star Citizen. A guy goes out and buys enough ships to hold 500 people. This guy bought all kinds of ships. He is legitimately a Star Citizen whale. Now there's another guy, and he's only bought 3 ships. He's got a cargo ship, a fighter, and a miner ship. I think is going to be about the average count where it's all over. Now, the guy with all the ships versus the guy with 3 ships. The guy with all the ships has absolutely no advantage over him whatsoever because he can only go in one ship at a time, and occupy one seat at a time. So that's just garbage, pay to win. So unless people can clone themselves and like multi-box somehow and make things work, having a bunch of seats is more of a burden. So these people that bought these fleets are serious in a position where if you don't have people to fill those seats, you just wasted your money, pretty much. You better have a lot of friends, or be willing to try to start a community or a Twitch channel to where you can invite people to things with you. Otherwise, you really did waste your money, because if you don't have the ability or the power to fill the seats in your fleet, it's just things to sit there. You're gonna walk through them, take a tour on your ship that you can't do anything with. So with saying that, I mean, I'll confession, I'm a Star Citizen whale, and I got a lot of seats. I'm trying to build this Twitch channel here. I got people to fly my ships, and straight out, I mean, just want to make friends, and a lot of friends. I need like I bet you if we actually counted my ships one night, I bet you I got like 200 seats around to put up everything. Hey, Alphane. Back to the video.
So, recently we did talk about, kind of
thanks for the sub, Alphane.
Showing a really solid version of the game, as a way to kind of show people, hey, this is something that's going to happen. It's something that's going to work, worth getting into, worth playing, worth buying into, that sort of thing. But, when we talk about game systems coming online, like whether it's scanning, whether it's mining, whether it's salvaging, all that sort of stuff, but those things alone, I think they're content in a way, but I kind of want to go aside from those and talk about what kind of content would you like to see brought into the game that you think would liven things up, that would be a real positive draw for players into the game. Because of course there's mining, there's trading, there's going to be salvaging, hopefully soon, 3.5. But that in and of itself, really, I don't think is the end game that most people want. I think there's a lot of people who would like to do that as a hobby, but to a certain degree, I think that they want some more exciting things along the way, some more interesting things. One of the things that I would like to see, because of course, yeah, I mean, there are people who are going to be like, no, I just want to mine, I just want to salvage, but there needs to be things that happen in the universe that keeps it interesting, that makes it a living universe. It's not just static mining simulator, static salvage simulator, right? And one of the things that I would like to see is, periodic events that pop up, not just like, oh, hey, I've got a mission for you. Pick up 2 crates of garbage and dump it off world, and I'll give you 380 credits. That sort of crap. But, just interesting dynamic events with high rewards that might encourage players to go out and chase things down. Let's say a very stealthy marauder all of a sudden turns up in your system and it's hunting down various NPCs, and an alert goes out. Stealthy there's a mission. Says, hunt down this person, huge amount of rep, huge amount of credits, whoever can get them. And maybe it's something where players got to work cooperatively, or even better, what if players have to work competitively, you know, using scanners and using the systems within the game to kind of try and narrow down where this marauder is, and then kind of work their way into that location. Whoever gets there first gets them shot down first, collects the bounty and collects a high reward. Or maybe you got to work together as a team because that's more efficient. You gather people together and you start scanning and looking and trying to track this thing down, but the reward is something so amazing that the drive is there to get it. Maybe there's other things beyond just a monetary reward. Maybe there's a title included in it, or a special rank with the local police forces. I don't know, but something that when it pops up, it makes players just kind of set down what they're doing and go, hey, you know, this is really fun. We have to go get on top of this. I think those types of events can certainly, you know, spawn a lot of excitement within the player community. And I think even if it's done in a competitive sense, it can, you know, if you're looking to kind of create a PvP type situation, especially, let's say, in the more unregulated parts of the universe, you could use an event like that to force players into a situation where they're colliding for an objective. And that can be very fun and exciting as well.
Oh wow, I'm looking at my stream now on a real monitor.
I had, and I think it's an idea that
I
think
can
it
tell
would
the
work
difference
well with the state of the game and the big push to kind of get things delivered and to get things, you know, in players' hands. But at the same time, you know, the way these systems are being developed is, it seems to be coming just a little bit at a time. But one of the probably the big interests in the community, if I'm not mistaken, is the idea of getting into Vanduul space, of raiding into Vanduul space. So what if there was a wormhole connection between the Stanton system,
when you guys get a follow command in
one of the systems in Vanduul space? And the way that we found out about that is that all of a sudden a Vanduul invasion turns up in Stanton. You could make this like a holiday event, and you could make it so it's a little bit more fun for players to engage in, but at the same time kind of staying within the rules of the game. Let's say the UEE says, you know what, we don't really have the naval forces to spend to really push this invasion back, so we're kind of counting on you, the freelancing pilots out there
I restored it from a backup.
You know, kind of help us push this back.
We kind of threw everything together
this
today.
Period, whenever you want to, you know, have this invasion happen, the UEE is going to cover all your insurance costs, plus, you know, expedite all your ship retrieval if you lose your ship. We're going to expedite that. We're going to pay for the equipment on your ship if you lose it, minus the cargo, so you can't lie and say, oh, I had a priceless Van Gogh in the cargo hold, so that's another 50 million UEC. But, you know, we're going to cover all the reasonable expenses so that you have a reason to go out and get there. And maybe there's also special rewards that come along with that, and the opportunity to kind of go through that wormhole and maybe start raiding into Vanduul space. And as they develop that system, you might say that, well, this planet, the defenses are weak, so players can go and raid and discover and explore around there. But as players do that, they're weakening the defenses, they're whittling away at them within the system, and then all of a sudden now we can go and we can hit this other planet in the system and its moons, and then this asteroid belt, and then this planet, that sort of thing. So you can stagger how that system comes online while using plot elements to kind of justify why you're only getting it in little bits and bytes, and all of a sudden it opens up a whole new avenue for the players. Now, of course, there's going to be a certain amount of probably internal pushback on that one, because, you know, the Vanduul is one of these secret magic topics that's going to make Squadron 42 so ooh and on. So pre-revealing what a Vanduul ship looks like to players might spoil the plot of Squadron 42. I know that that's probably somehow a concern, but you know how it is sometimes. But I think that doing something like that, if you could deliver it once again within the frame of a stable game client, and you know, you could do that in such an enjoyable way, that I think that would alleviate a lot of the back end, a lot of the back end problems and a lot of the concerns in the community. If you could, if they could actually get into the game and start exploring things like that and having fun, I think that would be a really interesting way to kind of push things forward. It might mean changing the star map a little bit, but I think the star map is probably something that at this stage in development is something that remains fairly fluid and something that could be changeable. We always talked about discovering wormholes and maybe finding new star systems. Maybe this is the first wormhole that we discover. And this doesn't have to be an event that could be resolved, in one day or in one play session. Maybe if you have something where your players are pushing towards a goal, like we got to get X amount of the Vanduul fighters shot down, we got to destroy X amount of the capitals, and then they'll weaken to the point where now we can go and raid into their space and that sort of thing. So it'd be one of those situations where players are looking forward to it. It's sort of like raid night, and it's like, oh, I can't wait to get home and just get into Star Citizen and just start hitting the Vanduul. It's going to be awesome. And there obviously would be rewards, both financial and possibly prestige style rewards, that would drive a lot of interest and a lot of participation in that sort of thing. Now, you might say that in the current state of the game, obviously, and for the foreseeable future, over the next year, there's not going to be any sense of hanging out. Any money you earn really doesn't count. But if you look beyond the money rewards, if you look at, maybe there are certain physical goods that you can give the players, certain things that you can award the players that give them at least some sense of progression, of moving forward. Like, let's say if you complete all these tasks, then the UEE is going to award you a crate of P4R assault rifles that you can say, hey, I've got a Caterpillar, or hey, I've got a Javelin or an Idris or whatever, and now I can take that crate and use that to fill up the gun racks of my ship once my ship is ready, so I can start to build up that equipment or sets of armor, or maybe just cosmetics and badges and things like that, things that players can then turn around and use in game and know that they're going to have once things are meaningful. I think if you can give players that sense of progression and and purpose, even
I'm watching YouTube,
where persistence in terms of player progression doesn't exist, if you can give them
just so you know, you can't do what you did today. You're not supposed to.
Seemingly
once you become a Twitch affiliate,
system, you're gonna find that
you can't put your stuff on YouTube until
not
24 hours after you do it on
they're
Twitch.
They're going to at least feel that, okay, there's a purpose to log in.
In your agreement.
There's an enjoyment to be derived from this. There's something that I can feel like I'm doing, because I think that probably one of the things that kind of makes players uncomfortable or makes players unhappy right now is the sense that we're just kind of sitting here twiddling our thumbs and not doing anything, and we feel that we just want the game to be going somewhere in order to actually call it a game. We feel like we need to be progressing in a direction. I think that if you can take that alternate look at progression, maybe you can deliver something that is going to drive player interest and drive player satisfaction, which I think would definitely be something that I think a lot of us would really like, is a sense of purpose when we log into the game, rather than, just collecting footage or trying to learn which one is the actual module that you can go to buy goods in. Anyways, just some of my random thoughts. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.
Please follow. Alright. Minion Soldier. That should be the video I linked just a little while ago.
Hello and welcome.
We're here at Board Gamer. On accident, but actually, good choice for being next. Oh, if we could just get to his main channel. "17 hours ago. What is the Drake Kraken? Yes. What is the
Hello
Kraken?
and welcome to some more Star Citizen. Today, I want to...
The only person I ever heard talk about the Kraken was, what the fuckosaurus would bring up the Kraken, and he said that he couldn't wait for it. Well, I don't even know what it was. I'm kind of curious on what it is.
Welcome to some more Star Citizen. Today, I want to talk about the Drake Kraken, what it is, and potentially, are we going to see it at CitizenCon?
What it is. Tell me what it is. I want it.
This year's CitizenCon is on the 10th of October, and according to The Fluff, sponsored and hosted by the controversial ship slingers Drake Interplanetary, reinventing their own image in the wake of PR turbulence and corporate restructuring, Drake has a chip on its shoulder and perhaps a game-changing ace up its sleeve. CitizenCon 2948 is not to be missed. So Game Changer was a term often used to hype the Pioneer before we knew that the Pioneer was an outpost building ship unveiled at CitizenCon 2017. The date of CitizenCon matches perfectly with the next expected concept sale too. So why do I think it's the Drake Kraken, and exactly what is that ship? There was a happy hour game dev reverse the verse type livestream that CIG did on the 1st of December 2017 called Happy Hour Game Dev, You Pick the Next Drake Ship. This show went through various ships that Drake might make and asked the audience to choose one to have as the next Drake ship and to then eventually go on concept sale at some point. Eventually, the Drake Vulture small salvage ship won the vote. Other ships that were mentioned were the Starlifter, a medium storage runner, a Corsair, which is a Constellation competitor, and the Kraken, a scout carrier. You'll notice that the Starlifter and medium storage runner, as well as the Drake Vulture, have all been concepted. The first two there were under a different manufacturer, though, the Crusader Industries, Hercules, and Mercury, respectively. It is very likely in the future that we will have another Constellation-sized ship from a manufacturer as well, but the Kraken was heavily upvoted, and a lot of the community seemed annoyed that it didn't win that original vote. But as we've seen, it's very likely it will be made in some form. The reason I think this will still be a Drake ship is because the name Kraken suits the buccaneering Pirates of the Caribbean theme of Drake, and they are likely to want to keep that awesome name. Drake doesn't have a capital ship either yet. The Drake pipeline is one of the most developed ship pipelines, so it sort of like fits being able to do a capital ship like this. And I feel that if they're going to have a large Drake ship, a capital ship, then they can make it more affordable and justify that. CitizenCon, arguably, the holiday livestream as well, is probably the best time for them to sell something like this that is quite expensive, but will generate a lot in the way of hype sales. So what is the Drake Scout Carrier, codenamed the Kraken? The original vote for the Drake ship page describes it as Drake's capital ship entry, space to park and store a few medium ships, up to a freelancer-sized ship, and transport them around the verse, serves as a mobile truck stop in function with a small hub of stores, some less than legit, to help restock. So, obviously, even if it is the Drake Kraken that they sell, it might have changed somewhat. It would have evolved a bit. It will not necessarily be exactly what they talked about during that live stream, and during that live stream they did talk a lot more about it. They did say there might be room for some quite large ships aboard.
We're going through my account after this.
They said it wasn't going to be a military class of ship, something potentially the same size as an Idris or Javelin, but with a much higher carrying count of ships. The trade-off being it has next to no weapons. Potentially you might be hauling 6 to 8 various sizes of ship. Those ships would have to be your defences, like a mobile space station or a utility-first capital ship built for moving and servicing vehicles and ships and their crews. There was a lot of talk about various ideas and different visions for the ship. They talk about it potentially being a floating parking lot, having a huge cavernous opening for larger ships to be protected on the inside, a huge hangar basically on the inside with landing pads on top of the ship as well, various shops, cabs and recreation on board as well. They talk about it being able to repair a ship as well as rearm and refuel it. Potentially a caterpillar might even be able to land inside it. In this vision of the ship, there would be ample areas to receive and store cargo. You could literally bring multiple ships in, drop off your cargo in multiple areas, and then leave the Kraken's crew to process that cargo and items. It sounds very much like a mobile Cryastro station or a small rest stop, but, you know, mobile. They also describe it as like a small city, a center of commerce potentially, a Draken fleet HQ, the centerpiece of a fleet. The Kraken actually fills a hole that Star Citizen was missing. There was a stretch goal for when Star Citizen hit 19 million in funding, managed space stations. Players will compete to own and operate a limited number of space stations across the galaxy. So this could potentially partly cover that stretch goal. I know it's not exactly the same, and I do expect they potentially will have some larger space stations in the future that we might be able to fight over and manage in the Star Citizen universe, but that is yet to be 100% confirmed. They are building out the game now, and they did talk about that recently, where they would look at that functionality in the future, but this is a nice way that they could sort of have it, I suppose, as well. It is more than just a pocket carrier. It's an actual carrier and something that suits the game very well. Concept price-wise, it's going to depend on its size and what actual functions it has. Is it modular? Do you purchase the modules separately? Is it going to have loads of shops like Banu Merchantman sort of thing? Is it going to be able to repair and rearm and refuel? All of that sort of stuff. Is it going to be able to take multiple caterpillars inside? You could have the ship ranging from like $600 all the way up to $2,000 based on this. The Pioneer was $850, so I would expect something similar, more if it's massive and has loads of function beyond carrying. Though if it's modular, the base ship could actually be relatively cheap, but house a load of modules. It is going to be something, if it does actually get made, this is all something that isn't confirmed. It is suspected by me heavily. I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? Like, genuinely makes sense for them to sell something big like this Kraken that people have wanted for quite a long time and that will generate a lot of sales for them at their biggest event potentially this year. One of the other mechanical joys of something like this in the verse as well is it doesn't actually require any new gameplay mechanics, as it were, because it's a floating space station. They're going to have that in game. They don't need to build all this new functionality for anything in. The Banu Merchantman's going to have shops that are mobile in this way, but also, I mean, they're going to have shops and all this sort of functionality on space stations in general. I am interested to know what you think as well, though. So, do you think it will be modular? Will it fill the player-managed space stations sort of like hole that they've got in the game? Do you think it's going to be the CitizenCon concept sale? How much do you think it's going to be? Is it something that you're going to try to get in game? Do you think these are going to be the centerpieces of people's fleets in general, or just pirate fleets, or just
what do you guys
larger
think the
orgs are
Kraken
going
will
to have
sell
them?
for?
That sort of stuff. I'm interested to know what people think at the moment, because it's a cool little bit of theory crafting, and we've only got around 5 weeks-ish
Can be one of those
$1,200 before
jobs.
CitizenCon, and when we actually know, and we can look back and go, our predictions were right,
Price
or
of an interest.
terribly wrong. Every month we have a ship giveaway. This time for September, it's a Saber Raven, a game package, and a CitizenCon digital goodies pack. All you need to do to be in for a chance of winning is be subscribed to my YouTube channel and comment on any of my videos during the month. If you'd like to support the channel further, please consider joining on YouTube as a sponsor or via Patreon. Also, if you're looking to get or upgrade a gaming PC, then consider Shadow instead. Shadow is a subscription-based cloud gaming PC service that can turn most devices, phone, laptop, PC, tablet, and more into a powerful gaming PC via the internets. Links to more info in the description for that, and if you do decide to try it, then use the code BOARDGAMER to get a discount on the service. Thanks for watching, guys. I look forward to your comments. Take care, and I'll see you in the verse.
In the verse, Board Gamer.
What's up, guys? Jay's 2 cents here.
Jay's 2 cents.
Hello, and welcome to some more.
Yeah. Hey, don't forget to enter for the giveaway. You gotta leave a comment. There's the link. So, next on the list The Blastcast. Citizen Gamer. One of my favorites. I'll put a link to the Citizen Gamer video right now. And here we go. By the way, nobody typed in anything. You guys got no clue how much you're going to ask for the Kraken? Are they on their cell phone or something? Okay, here we go.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the Blastcast. I am Jarus, and with me as always is the man excited for CitizenCon, Lightning Dragon.
Yes, hear the enthusiasm in my voice.
So let's get into some Star Citizen news. Now, for starters, at the time of this recording, oddly enough, the Calling All Devs isn't out yet, so I have no idea. It's kind of odd. So let's just jump into Around the Verse. And Around the Verse, from what it sounds like, they were talking about the fact that the Gravlev bikes are no longer going to have an atmospheric flight mode because it sounds like it was ruining their racing they were trying to do, which was kind of obvious if you thought about it from the beginning. And a lot of people weren't happy that the Gravlev bikes had atmospheric flight because even in the initial Q&A, it was stated that they would not be able to do that. It was a big selling point, and turning them into basically small, tiny spaceships was a bad idea from the very beginning. And I hope this is not just a racing thing with a disabled flight. I hope it's universal. That would make the bikes more like bikes.
Darn, they're going to remove flight from tiny vehicles that no one asked for.
CIG also showed off some of their tech that will help define what the players see as they move along inside and outside of ships, and some of the updates to that tech that allows the shapes to more accurately fit the rooms that it's supposed to represent.
Less stuff being drawn in, better FPS.
Now, hangars will most likely be non-instanced and permanent on worlds, meaning related to real estate. That means that these hangars, the cost will go up as the availability goes down. Now, realistically speaking, there's enough room on one planet for every player. I think they said to have roughly 4 kilometers, so every player could actually inhabit one planet. But what they're talking about here is, for example, a city will have an area where there's a bunch of hangars, and players can buy or rent hangars at that location. They want to make those very permanent, so of course that would be limited. You can go out and prospect your own location and then build your own house, and I assume put your own hangar out there too. Now, what they should do for these large public hangars, I don't know if any of you have ever seen this, I'll play some footage. When I lived in Japan, you would have these parking garages that cars would go into this certain slot, this certain little room that would be picked up and then moved into a larger car storage area. If they did this with ships for like public parking, that'd resolve a lot of issues. They don't have to animate the inside, but they could just kind of make a big outside and say that's kind of what it does.
You could also look at it as even a more modern thing, like an aircraft carrier, right? Aircraft carriers have, multiple decks where, ammo is stored, or ships are stored, or planes in this case. So even if you just had let's say more like a skyscraper, maybe half buried or something, that's what your hangar is. So you have like a upper area you could land, maybe that goes down. We saw that with the asteroid hangar, or something you fly into, and then it would have some kind of the ship goes down. Then you don't have to, animate any of that. Well, you don't have to draw all the ships in that you own, but you'd have like a certain amount of ships you could store in that one hangar, obviously in a certain size. If you want a capital ship, you're not going to land them on a planet.
Yeah, but the great thing about video games is that, they could just have one building, because are any of us really going to know how many ships are in there?
Yeah, it's a video game. I mean, all it is data. It's a line of code.
Now, my question related to these hangars, because they want to incorporate your personal hangar into the world, where you place it down, is do I get a free hangar for every hangar on every ship that I have bought that includes a hangar? Because that's a lot of hangars. They got into long-range sensors just a little bit, and they stated that long-range sensors are going to be the kind of thing where you kind of sit there, you scan, you take time to put all the data together, refine that data, and then determine exactly what it is. It's going to be a lot slower than the short-range scans where it's more of a ping and then you get the data back. The long-range ones are going to be analysis, which I think is great.
I guess it depends on how long it's going to take to scan these things. Obviously, we now have computers as a size, and hopefully we'll get like a classification, overclocking, more details than just that, because that's something that's like, think of like replacing certain parts and now it's an overclock thing. Well, that could be like a 1% improvement if there's people that actually do overclocking. If that can
What's the scanners like on the new ship, the Mercury? That got good scanners?
tie into the ship computers in some fashion, I think that'd make an interesting kind of thing. So you could customize your ship for more long-range scanning as opposed to like short-range scanning or something along those lines.
Yeah. There's a lot of possibilities of upgrades or modifications that ships can be allowed to have. It just depends on the developer's imagination. And they also talked a bit about long-range ships, and that they have to refuel either at a station or through something like the Starfarer. Now, my question is on that is, if you take something like a Karak out and you're exploring a new system and there's nothing out there because you just discovered it, you found a wormhole, you went through, who's going to refuel you? Who's going to help you get back?
Going where no one has gone before.
Right. So, in my opinion, long-range ships should have something like a Mr. Fusion.
I need fuel.
Need fuel.
Go ahead, quick, get in the car.
Oh my god.
Basically, you can take whatever materials that you need and process it slowly into a renewable quantum fuel source. Just enough that you can make a small quantity and transfer it over to your tanks, and then get more of the raw materials you need to make some additional. The reason is that these exploration ships that are going to be going into these locations and finding these places, they need to have some sort of self-sufficiency. Otherwise, there's just going to be a bunch of dead ships out in deep space.
You could also have it where it's inefficient.
Yeah.
Like the smaller it is, the more inefficient it is. So while it's able to, let's say you like a harvest of gas. There's a nebula over here. We're going to go to this.
Here too.
And let's say it's only at 10% out of like the total area. So if it's a very low dense, you're only going to get 10% of that, and then maybe 50% of that is what you're actually getting. So you might have to sit out here in this nebula or by a gas giant or something for a while, but at least you'll be able to keep going. Where if you go up in size for like a Starfarer, maybe your scoop is like 50% and it's like 90% or 80% efficiency, so you're not losing a lot of that from the reprocessing. So they could balance it like that.
But I definitely think they need to consider something for those people who want to do deep space exploration, and especially if they find a new system that no one's been in before. Otherwise, the risks are too high. Because they've talked about wanting to have the players refuel every few hours. And that seems to be kind of a weird statement. It should be based on what you're doing and also the capacity of your ship, not, I don't know. It seems odd.
I agree.
So someone had asked the developers if they wanted to have stories that basically blossomed out of the persistent universe, basically where developers could act like GMs and create scenarios and complex situations that would evolve into long-running storylines. And it is actually something they're looking at and they may want to pursue, and I'm all for that. The difficulties in dealing with that in an MMO environment, it can be exclusionary to some extent. Lightning, remember when we played
Guild Wars?
Yeah, Guild Wars 2. They had those one-time event only things, and I know they...
If you give somebody that kind of power to make scenarios and stuff, you're going to end up with the quest for the giant dildo or something. It's always going to be something screwed up that somebody's trying to get somebody to do for their amusement. I don't know if that would work with today's society. Like 20 years ago, yes, that would probably be possible. But nowadays, I think everybody's got a little bit of griever in them. Would like to screw at somebody. Make the mission for the golden dildo or something.
They've changed that now, but initially it was very disheartening because if you had a bad internet connection or if it was too busy and you couldn't get in, you miss out on the event and it's gone. So that's
I think the first one they did, it was like 2 days, but in those 2 days, it was only like 4 hours of the day, and it was like towards the end of the day.
Yeah, and I was at work, so it was like impossible to get it done right.
Yeah, it's like, some people do work night shifts or second shifts, that they can't be here for that. And I think it was like a Sunday and a Monday. And I think you were able to be there once, but only for like an hour. And it was like, I think the servers actually like crashed because how many people were on, and they actually had to extend the day for another like 1 or 2 days.
It was actually one of the experiences made me quit the game.
Yeah.
I was like, if they're going down this road, I don't want to deal with this. I can't deal with one-time events that I probably can't access because either the servers are broken or I'm at work. So that's something to consider. Maybe when they're dealing with storylines, they should look at maybe more generic directions, like the players have been pushing this way, these kind of events have been happening, and then you change the dynamics of the game around that. So like, for example, if the players for some reason get together and they attack the UEE in a particular system, then maybe how the game responds to that, what the devs do is they have the UEE counter with a massive military force coming into that system. So you make adjustments within that in a broad scope, depending upon what players are doing. Individualistic kind of stories and things like that might be really difficult, exclusionary, and alienating for a lot of players, speaking from personal experience. Either way, I'm very hopeful that they do get involved in the direction of the persistent universe, the evolution of the way things are, based upon what players do. The last thing here is that they did talk a bit about the no-fly zones, and the best way I can describe this is something that will make Homer Simpson proud is a bit like a donut. Little channels are going to be made where you can fly in and towards a landing zone. And if you cross into these red zones, or the ring of the donut, if you will, as you get closer and closer, you're going to receive warnings to eventually you hit, as they said, an explosion zone where your ship just blows up. Now, that's an initial kind of way they're going to be implementing it. Now, eventually what I'd like to see them do is if you cross over, you get a criminal status, or maybe like, I don't know, say you were trying to take a Cessna and fly to the White House, you know how that's going to end up. You're going to be pretty much blown up. So the same kind of thing as they develop this, I'd like to see them like, okay, now you've received a fine for crossing a line. Okay, now you're clearly a threat, and now we shoot you down. Kind of a progression. An invisible hard wall, I'm not really a big fan of. As I said, tier 0 implementation, but please only be tier 0.
Yeah, usually that falls into the taking control away from the player, which is something I'm a big negative against.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, even if you go into the full red zone where everyone's shooting at you, you should still have a chance to get away. You know, you may be a fully wanted criminal now for violating that fly space. But the point is that, you know, there should be like turrets and cops and whatever has to happen to get you out of there. But yeah, it should definitely be a soft experience, not a hard wall one. All right, everyone, from what I've seen in the forums, it looks like the Evo Kadi invites have started going out. There's been a lot of them from what I've been seeing on the forums. I would guess that, and I don't know, because two things. One, honestly, I haven't heard anything. And two, even if I did, I couldn't tell you, or I'd have to kill you. I would imagine for stress testing the new netcode and the data calling that they're going to want to try to pile in on as many people as they can. So I would guess that's why additional invites are going out to the extent that I'm seeing them, at least according to the forums. So I would expect Evo Kadi to be within 2 to 3 weeks, most likely within 2, because they're going to want to have probably about a month to get everything up and running, release a PTU version by CitizenCon. I don't expect them to go live with it fully by CitizenCon, just at least the subscribers and things like that. We don't really have any official plans for any shows this week, so we'll do some thinking on it and decide from there. But other than that, guys, I think that's about everything for this day's Blastcast, so we will catch you in the next one. Thanks for tuning in, and leave your comments down below.
Bye-bye, everybody.
All right, please give those guys a like and a subscribe. I do like them. They make good content. Okay, so next week it'll be faster. I'll have my buttons set. Go right to them and won't have to. A month ago, still, kind of like he stopped making. Kind of liked him because he would have a little bit of a language problem, swearing. Or if Geo ever came out with anything. Arcade. The arcade people. I just like clicking on this.
Hello YouTubers, this is the Noobifier. This constitutes a little bit as bullshit, which is why it's over here on Noobifier Gaming. Earlier today, Board Gamer was streaming, and out of nowhere, if you go super slow-mo, you're going to see that was actually an Aurora that hit, so I'm thinking Test Squadron. Anyways, the results were hilarious. Here you go.
We're going to find someone else to...
Anybody want to try to green screen that video for me? Just like this part of it. Like, take the background out. I want the space station, the 2 ships, and Board Gamer. That's it. I can double impose it.
So I'm thinking Test Squadron. Anyways, the results were hilarious.
It's so much better when you do it. I think my screensaver I got for something set like half speed. Pretty cool.
Results were hilarious. Here you go.
We're gonna find someone else to...
Bang! It was a good job too. It was nice and clean. Ouch. Feel the pain. Really can. Oh, no, he didn't put nothing over here. Yeah, 10 hours ago, but it was only like 26 seconds or something. I have to know.
Hello YouTubers, this is the Noobifier. Calling All Devs is the Tuesday feature where your questions are answered by the developer most qualified to take it. Here's what you need to know from Frankfurt in 26 seconds. Tessa Bannister is still part of the plan, but she would need to come back to the studio to record her lines and do mocap. She's going to be added back in the future. The idea of an early warning proximity alarm for when you're away doing something else is planned. There's also going to be an audible alarm before venting a ship by opening the airlock. After Stanton is done, which was selected as the test system because it has a little bit of everything, the next system isn't decided yet. They did, however, mention Terra and Pyro. There you go. Fly safe, and I'll see you in the verse.
There you go. Straight, to the point, down, and dirty. Alright. Let's see. Wanted to show you guys what I bought.
It's
Yeah, I
finally
bought
time
this.
to take a look at our DS918 Plus. Every time I sit down and want to make a video, I'm like, there's just too much to cover. It's overwhelming. So in this video, I'm going to cover the specs, tell you what this unit is, and then we're going to look at the software. It's going to be a few minutes longer than a normal video, but you really want to stay tuned for the software at the end. Right now, I want to tell you that it's more than just a box with a bunch of hard drives in it. There's a lot of NAS units out there in the market. There for files yet actually harvesting. And what this does is each user can have their own drive. It gives them their own folder inside your homes folder. So everyone's going to have their own home, just like that has all the Office applications.
Yeah, this is the part.
With our snapshot replication, we have not set that up just yet, but that's like top of my list to do after I get my SSDs installed and stuff. But you guys can set up snapshots,
Just
schedule
crazy
snapshots,
stuff.
and do it per folder or per share, I suppose. Hey, for your LUNs too. Now I'm going to show you Synology Drive. This is a desktop app. And what this does is each user can have their own drive. It gives them their own folder inside your homes folder. So everyone.
So I can like make folders, and I can do like Oxford's folder. I can give Oxford a password. And then once this folder's made and Oxford encrypts it, I can't even get into it. So it's actually literally Oxford's folder. And Oxford can put videos and do whatever he wants with it. But what you can map these folders to be a hard drive for your computer. So when you start up your computer, it goes to the internet, and as soon as it gets that IP address and makes that connection, that's a hard drive. It's pretty amazing stuff. I'm working on that. And since I don't have to stream till next week, even though I want to stream more, and that's the whole point of trying to get all this stuff done. What's going to happen is I got to reinstall Windows on this computer that I'm on right now. It's going to be a pain in the butt. I got to reinstall everything. So as soon as I get done here, I'm going to start reinstalling. Get everything ready for next week. And hopefully, man, I can do some gameplay because I'll have some games installed and stuff like that. And I'll probably, what I want to do is I want to come home from work. And I get home at midnight. And I want to play games for about 3 hours. And then I want to do the news. And then go to bed. That's kind of like what I want my routine to be. But what my routine has been is coming home from work, working on the studio. Hopefully I get what I get done in time to stream. Scramble to get ready for the stream and then stream. And then as soon as I'm done with the stream, then I gotta take down some of the things that I put together because it's not ready yet. But it's coming along, dude. It really is. I'm gonna have to take some pictures, and then next week we're gonna get some pictures of what I've been doing. It's pretty amazing. And I got some new water cooling fluid coming. I think it's a UV blue. Probably make a video doing that. Putting the water in my piece. So we're gonna raid somebody. Yeah, fine. I like the old gamer. He's been doing a lot of Star Citizen. Guy. But you just go offline? Yeah. Not him. Oh wow, he called it quit. Oh, sweet. I wonder what happens when you watch your own channel. The Windows of Windows. No, it don't. Oh yeah, it does. Okay, so he stopped streaming. Alright, I'll click on it one more time. Okay, he's not there. History. Oh, my buddy. Buddy's on. Buddy Elfane. Here we go. Draw to the Avatar, guys. Check this game out. You guys might like this game. Didn't work. Oh, so I'm not in my channel. I'm in his channel. What I did. You know what happens when you guys get old? It's gonna happen to everybody. You're all gonna get old. And you're all gonna do embarrassing shit. What happens when There you go. Working. Got through it. Now I gotta tear everything down and reinstall this one. But everything will be ready when that 2080 Ti comes. I can plug it in, and we got Battlefield 5 coming.
Hi, Tista. What's up? Oh, there's too many of them. I need to spread them out. We'll get rid of this guy first. Just finish your stream, Twister. Are you heading back to bed? Hopefully nobody sees me killing him. Stay quiet. They got one here. Just did. Just need to force the mage to come over. It's gonna blink. There he is. Got him. Need to kill them slowly, bit by bit. Hey, thanks for the raid. I'm not sure why the raid doesn't have any announcement. Did I need to set it wrongly?